Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to TouchTone Tuesday presents Tell Your Story. And oh my goodness, we've got a story for you guys tonight. I know it seems like we've just missed each other forever. It's been a whole month since I've been with you guys, but I'm telling you, it's only getting better as we do these things. And we have an amazing young lady with us tonight. I met her several months ago, and I tell you, her spirit was so endearing. And now, as I'm watching her bud and grow and come into an area, oh my goodness, how she is impacting not only her generation, but mine as well. And so tonight, you need to hit the chat, tell somebody to come on in. You got millennials, you got Gen Zers, you got a Generation X, which I think I'm in, whoever you got. Tell them they want to come in and hear this story because tonight I celebrate none other than my amazing, beautiful young sister and oh so talented. Yes, the phenomenal Miss Brittany Green. Hey,
Hey,
sis.
hey, everybody.
Look,
Hi.
look at you. Oh my goodness, you are looking phenomenal.
Thank
Thank you.
you. You are too.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being with us here on tonight. I know you're busy. My goodness, she's developing Clubhouse. She's developing her business, and she's going to tell us all about these wonderful things that she's doing on tonight. But I got to tell you, such a gracious spirit, and I have just loved watching you. I just want to say that right off the bat.
Thank you. And
Yes,
thank you for having me. I
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Yes, my pleasure. My pleasure tonight. So, listen, guys, you know how we do it. We just go ahead and jump on in this thing. So, hey, Miss Brittany, tell us about the beginning, where you were born, and then a little bit about your parents and your siblings.
So I'm Brittany Green. I was born in Trenton, New Jersey. We are the state cap. I mean, we are the capital, and it's a small city. And then I transitioned to South Carolina, and I grew up down there as well. So it was in between moving from down south to up here. And in the house, the age gap was different. My siblings were like 5 years older, so I was the baby. I spent a lot of time alone. Didn't have many friends. I was bullied a lot. I was sexually molested at times, going out to people's homes. Nobody knew what was going on. I grew up in the 90s, and that was the thing in the neighborhoods that was going on. My
Mm,
mom was working all the time, so she didn't know. And I held on to these things, and out of that, it just molded me. Just want to be by
mm.
myself. So that's what I did. I mean, if you saw me by myself, you would catch me reading a book, watching figure skating, or looking at the gymnastics because that's what I wanted to be.
Mhm, mhm. Was that kind of an escape for you in the sense, because you mentioned the 5 year gap, kind of alone, even though you have siblings with you? And then, of course, the molestation. My goodness, at such an early age.
Yeah, like 6, 7, 8. Like it was really going on. And, it was a lot of drugs in the 90s too. It transitioned
Mhm,
from the 80s to the 90s. So it was a lot of drug addict babies that were being produced and growing up in the neighborhoods too. So that was going on. And like I said, my
mhm,
mom was at work. Um, she wasn't drinking. She didn't do drugs. She didn't do anything. She was
mm,
emotionally unstable at times. So I spent
mm,
most of the time by myself. I really didn't hang out with my brother and sister because they were outside a lot. So I found
mm,
comfort in being in the room, being inside the books,
mm, mm. I love hearing that. That
and that
that's
kind of shaped me too.
Yes, yes, that's kind of the escape though that we're talking about. So that was as you've already discussed with us, that was kind of a usual day growing up at home. Just that
Yes,
journey, is that correct? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
trying
as
to
you
get
read,
away.
yes, yes, trying to escape. So as you read these books and you speak of the 90s, of course, and we know that many things were happening, the influx of drugs, and then unfortunately with you, the molestation at a very early age. But then who or what shaped your dreams in the midst of this?
Whitney Houston actually, because I got a chance to see somebody with a big voice. I was always told to shut up or go sit down. Nobody wanted to be talk. So I was silenced a lot. And I did just that. I shut up and I started living in my mind. Everything that I did was in my head. And my grandma will often tell me, even as a teenager, you need to come out the clouds, Brittany. Out the clouds, Brittany. Come back to reality. But I had created this world in my head.
Oh
And I
my
did not fit in this world down here. I just didn't fit in. So
mm,
for me, that was my escape, being inside of my mind where I could just be on the
mm.
stage, gracing the stage, singing, flipping, and just being who I wanted to be.
Oh my goodness, you got to meet the late great Miss Whitney Houston. I'm just kind of marveling at that particular thing right now. So as these dreams take shape from this iconic voice that we hear right now, you mentioned, thinking of on the stage and singing. Do you yourself sing as well?
I do. I got it
Ah,
from my mom. Yes.
yes, yes. So
Yep.
you picked up a few of those musical things along the way.
I did. And I studied. Yep. I would study all of the singers down to the note, down to the voice, to the breath. And I wanted to mimic everything they did. It was beautiful.
My gosh. Oh my gosh. We may hear a little bit of that, but we're getting this story right now, y'all. So y'all come on in the room. I see you guys joining right now. So come on in here. We have Miss Brittany Green with us, guys. I'm telling you, this is a phenomenal story. So you're talking about the iconic, one more time. I'm still marveling with that. Miss Whitney Houston, having the opportunity to meet her. And how old were you when that happened?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I met her in my mind. My
Oh,
mom
just
used to listen to her
mhm.
all the time. Like, so she was in the house all the time with the music blasting.
Yeah.
And I just created this world, a world for myself where I can be like her.
Mhm. So this is more of
So I
your
apologize for the mis.
oh no, just this is more of your idol, and so you're grooming yourself in your world to be like that. So did she become an influential person? Because tell us about maybe three of the most influential people for you in your life and why.
My grandmother, of course, and because she was the matriarch, she lost her whole family. So when she
Mm,
just took this loss, like everybody before her, she was there to see them go. She was participating in it, and she was able to raise up a whole new family.
mm,
And I thought that was important. It just showed the strength that she had, and she definitely influenced me to be strong.
yes.
The other person is my son. My son actually had a traumatizing moment himself. He found his grandmother deceased at the age of 5.
Wow.
He woke up and she was deceased. So on top of me being depressed, I had to put myself aside and try to find a way to deal with my son.
Yes.
And over the years, he overcame it. He really did. And to see where he is now, I'm always inspired by him because he is so strong.
Hmm, hmm.
And then
Oh
last
my.
but not least, my daughter. She's 6 years old,
Oh.
and she is everything that I was as a child. She is the person that I wanted to be as a child.
Oh
Like,
my
her
goodness.
imagination is wild, she's loud, she
Mhm.
sings, and I just enjoy watching her be herself.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. You have some phenomenal people that you have mentioned. But as I'm listening to the fiber, the thread, the strength to come through, there was a lot of emotional types of traumas that hit not only you, but your grandmother and then your son. And so you guys have just been bred through different types of traumatic events to be extremely strong. Would you say that's a correct observation?
Yeah, yes, and I know
Mm,
my grandmother, she never broke down, so we never, had a chance to see her just go through the motions because she said she had a life to
mhm,
live and a family to take care of,
mm.
so she had to move. So to
Wow.
see her
Wow.
take her last breath was actually her final time to take her breath and just be at peace. She didn't have to
Mm,
fight anymore.
But my goodness, you have got a very rich heritage and strength is what I'm listening to. And obviously you brought that
Yes.
forth and now seeing the daughter who's able to live in that freedom because of all of the things you guys have overcome. Yeah, that's got to be amazing
Yep.
to watch. Yeah, that's amazing to watch. Well, we're still hitting some
Yes,
threads
yes.
over here. We're good. Okay, there we go. I think my camera's doing some funny things here tonight, guys. So we're back again. So we're gonna stay with this thing. But listen, as we're doing this on tonight, and I'm listening to you, one of the things that just came to mind as we're talking about that level of strength for you, is that something you use now to encourage others?
I do. Um, because I can relate. I talk a
Mhm.
lot to younger people. I have a niece that's 20 and
Yeah.
she's finally getting it. And the other day I was just in the store praise dancing because she said, "I'm Brittany, I understand now." And I was thinking, like you said earlier, she is
Yeah.
20 and she's getting this. So
Isn't
I
that
was grateful
something?
because at 35, I was understanding it. Like you said, at 55, you might have somebody else that's getting it. So it was a blessing to see.
It is, it is, it is. And to know you're inspiring that next generation, because that's certainly what you've done to me. I'm just telling you, ever since I've met you, I've just felt inspired by you. So, so excited to have you here on tonight. And I see them joining in here. And you guys have
Thank
questions,
you.
put it in the chat for us. Yeah, yeah.
For
So
real.
tell us a little bit about your educational background and your career path. Tell us more about that.
So I graduated. I did go to community college. I didn't stay long because I have a condition called dyslexia. I had a difficult time retaining information, and I was always struggling with what I wanted to be. You know, they never really prepare you in school, and I had this
Mm,
gigantic imagination, and everything that they did lay out in front of me, I didn't fit the description.
mm,
I didn't want to be a
mm,
painter. I didn't want to build houses. I didn't want to do what the regular girls did. I saw myself gracing the stage, and it was so big. A lot of people around me kept telling me how big
mm,
it was, and it
mm.
wasn't achievable. You know, because for one, you can't remember things, Brittany. I was
Yeah.
constantly told these things, even by people that I love, that you can't do this, Brittany. Your brain doesn't work like that, Brittany. You're slow. You're retarded. I heard these words, so that
Oh
just
my
put a
God.
barrier in my way, and I finally just stopped going.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
and I got a regular 9 to 5. You know, I
Mhm,
decided to go
mhm,
that route instead.
mhm, mhm. Tell us about how you deal with dyslexia now, because we have some people listening, dealing with it even in adulthood. Certainly with the kids that they screen actually a little bit better now for it than we did in some previous years. But tell us how you deal with that now in a regular 9 to 5.
So right now I am unemployed actually,
Mhm,
and by the grace of God, everything worked itself out. I took an injury back in 20 pretty me out of the
mhm,
workplace, and
mhm,
it's a transition, but it's a good one. As far as the dyslexia go, I still
mhm,
struggle with that as a 36-year-old. A lot of
mhm,
times I have to read something 5 or 10 times before I get it. A lot of
mhm,
things that said to me don't often stick. But it's also my superpower because the way my brain is set up, I see things before I see things. I'm a visual learner. So I see colors in my mind. When somebody talk to
mhm,
me, I'm painting pictures in my mind.
mhm.
And it's my superpower because I'm not what the world said I was. I'm not retarded. I'm not slow. I'm not stupid.
Ah,
I
that's
look at
good.
myself as artistic. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful thing from God.
Yes, yes. I love the way you phrase that, that it's artistic and it's a
Thank
beautiful
you.
gift from God. I'm able to use it now, to see things before we see things. What an
Right.
amazing observation. I mean, that's great discernment that he's given you. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's exactly what that is. I love that. I love that. And so now we use some things because you've had many challenges as we spoke so early on that would have stopped so many of us. You mentioned the emotional traumas that you went through as a young woman, as a young girl, actually, and then to see your grandmother or to hear her story and that coming through in your son, and now to hear of the dyslexia, the learning challenges, and to overcome all of those things. And now you have brought forth this beautiful family. You enjoy motherhood. Tell us a little bit about that and how you balance that thing in your career path. I realize we've taken a breather, but you haven't really taken a breather. You gonna tell us a little bit more about that. You just using this time wisely is all you're doing. Okay.
Yeah. So in the beginning, motherhood was not good for me. I had two C-sections. I had postpartum depression with both pregnancies. And it was horrible. I was not attached to my children at all.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was a lot. And I didn't connect with my son right away. I couldn't breastfeed him. It was just a lot going on. It was a lot of stress. And
Mhm.
on top of that, I was battling bipolar depression.
Mhm.
So I didn't have that connection. Once my son got better though, and I got healed because I had to pray about that, and God worked it out. I was able to build a better relationship, but it was hard. It was hard. And the cesarean sections,
Mhm.
they found out some years later that my cervix doesn't open. Um, and doctors didn't want to go that route to try to figure out what was going on. They wanted to just pump more medication inside of me and call me a complaining black woman, but that wasn't the case.
Mhm.
And I fought.
Mhm.
I knew that I had children to raise, and I know I had
Yeah.
to fight.
Yes. And you fought through it and
And
you
it's
fought through it well. Yeah, yeah. So
and I'm
what
enjoying motherhood.
say that once more?
I said I'm enjoying motherhood now.
Yeah, it shows on you. It shows on you. Did the support system with your grandmother help you through that particular phase or those phases?
Yes. When I gave birth to my son, I was living with her. So to have her present, it was
Mhm.
everything because when I was battling my mind, she was right there. She didn't let me fall.
Yeah.
She let me know that everything was going to be all right. She let me cry. She just let me be myself. And I so appreciate that because once again, I couldn't turn to anybody else. They didn't want to deal with me. So my grandmom took over a little bit. I
Mhm.
remember when my son got circumcised from the hospital and I almost fainted. And she said, "Girl, go get me that Vaseline." And smacked him on up real quick and threw his diaper on. She said, "Girl, go
And
sit
back
down."
to
So here I
business.
go. But it was beautiful to have those experiences with her.
Yeah,
I mean, she really helped me with my son, and my daughter. I truly appreciate that.
yeah,
She
yeah.
was right there every step of the way.
Yeah, I wanted to ask that because we're in an era now, I believe, where we're seeing a great deal more of mental illness, and I say that not to be degrading or in any way, but I'm glad, I'm excited in one respect because I finally see that people are putting a voice to it. Whereas perhaps when you were coming through, we may not have had that voice, so to speak. It was looked at as taboo,
Yeah.
if you will, especially in our culture. We look at it as taboo,
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, they're crazy, they're this, they're whatever. They lost their mind. However, whatever other tags they put on that thing. But we're now finding that as we put a voice to it, that people are coming forth, getting the help and the support that we really deserve when it comes to mental
Yes.
illness, and now walking into an area where we realize that mental health is so important. So coming through that, could you speak on that just a little bit, about
Uh,
mental health and the importance thereof?
yes. And ironically, when I was working in security for the state of New Jersey, I was working with psychiatric patients.
Mhm.
And as much as I enjoyed the job, I was battling on the side. And it
Wow.
was hard at work. I had work overnight. I was working 10 to 7. It was
Mm.
difficult because the only difference was they were on the inside of the room and I was able to walk freely. But everything that they were
Oh,
feeling, I was going through. It could have been me.
wow.
And a lot of times it should have been me, but
Mhm.
God made a different way. And I was able to walk out of there. But
Mm.
I don't take it for granted because I was in that position where I got admitted to the hospital. I started
Mhm.
battling in my mind and they wanted to treat me and I got
Mhm.
myself together and got out of there and then had another episode and my grandmother once again was there to say, "Hold up now." She keep having these episodes, something ain't right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just started battling like a deep dark depression. I truly didn't know. I
Mhm.
lost my mind almost
Mm.
and I was heartbroken. My heart was just crushed. and depression had set in really bad. And I thank God because I went down to Board of Social Services, what we know as welfare. On this particular day, I was looking like a homeless person. I was embarrassed. The man that broke my heart, he was working there. I had to go and face him. I had to face his wife. It was difficult stepping up in there needing help. And this man actually pulled me to the side and said, I think I know a place that'll help you. You don't need to be here, but you need to be somewhere else. And he signed me up for this program, and it was an outpatient program. And they picked me up from home and take me there. And when I got there, I was just amazed because it was young white women in here getting treatment at 12 and 13. And all I could think about was, is places like this that exist? Are you serious?
Yeah.
So when I was 12 and 13 and 11, you mean to tell me that I could have been in a place like this getting treatment early on, but we don't have the resources and we're not hearing
Yes.
about these places. So I was upset. I was
Yeah.
upset and I wondered. So I did the program and I graduated from the program and I made it my business that when I come out of here, I'm going to talk more about this because we need the
Absolutely.
same resources in our community.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree 100%. And I see you already advocating as we speak. We brought lots of information now forth, especially with respect to our community, to our culture, our ethnic background, because it's so important. We've lost people along the way because resources were not available.
Yeah.
And even those that had the resources available to them, they didn't feel that their voice had a safe place. And that was a heartbreaking thing for me. Yes, as a
Yes,
healthcare
that's true.
professional. So I'm so excited that you're putting a voice and advocacy to mental wellness. Thank you. I applaud you for that and for just sharing your story. And you guys, if you're coming on in the
Thank
room
you.
tonight, we have Miss Brittany Green. You're listening to a phenomenal story that God is continuing to shape up. And it's so interesting that we talk about adversities, but many times adversities set us up for advantage. And I'm watching this young lady. I got to tell you, I'm seeing exactly that. So yeah. So as we go or just a little bit more, when you hear the word love, what is your immediate response, and then what life experiences connect you to that response?
Yep. When I hear love, I think of redemption. For me, because God redeemed my soul, healed my heart when it was broken, helped me to the root of the problem. When I was going through my depression, I cried out to the Lord and I said, "Why have you left me?" And God let me know I was always there with you. And
Mhm.
I started seeing flashbacks of when I was younger, and I was never alone. And God showed me and spared my life to be able to
Mhm.
come back and give these messages. And
Yes.
out of that, honestly, I was healed. I had to cry out to God because my mom couldn't save me, my grandma couldn't save me,
Come on,
nobody could save
sister.
me but God. And as much as I wish those people could save me, because at one point I thought I was in control. I had a lot of pride and ego. And surely that thing sat me down. It humbled me. It really did. Back in 2015, when I lost my job, I thought I had everything under control, but that was God working on me. And I cried
Yeah.
out to the Lord, and He pitied every groan. And I truly believe that He healed my heart because I was going to
Mm.
end my life. I was going to try to end my child's life. And it's real. Mm.
Wow. Wow. Someone needs to hear this. Hear this. Because here you are,
They
everyday
do.
life, coming to work until you lose your job. You go through a setback. But many of us don't know that the setback is for a setup. But in the meantime,
Yeah,
the transition between the setback and the setup is real. I love the word you use. It's real. I need help. I need, God
it
is
is.
working on me. He's working some things out. And you talk about that. You tell us about that moment when, in your darkest moment, when you hit that place, you said, I was going to commit suicide for me and my son.
Yeah.
It's huge.
My mind just really going left. And at that moment, I just felt like I had no control. I tried taking medications. I just wanted to be numb to what I was feeling. Suicide, ideation, it was constantly on my mind. It was becoming bigger than God's voice. I stopped hearing the Lord talking to me. And I was so focused on hearing the darkness, it consumed me. And I felt unsafe. And to the point where I was riding around with my daughter in the car, and I would stop at 2 or 3 fast food restaurants and I would order food. I wasn't hungry. I just was trying to cope with what I was feeling. I would go to work and I would eat everything and I would be sick to my stomach. I would come back in the house like nothing is wrong. I covered it up so well because everybody that saw me, they knew that Brittany was strong. Nobody saw the weak side. From the way I was taught and brought up, don't show your weakness.
Mhm.
As a black woman, you can't be weak. You have everything to do. You have a family to raise. You got a man to take care of, so you don't have to cry. And that's pretty much what I saw. So that's what I thought I had to do. So I did it. And I began to see more and more stories on TV of young women ending their life with their children. And they missing the mark. And all the things kept saying, oh, we don't know what happened to her. And she's never been this kind of person. And I kept putting myself in those scenarios because I knew if that would have been me, that would have been the same headline. We never saw this with Brittany. She was good. So I just thank God for pulling me out of that because it was God that did it. It was a spiritual
Mhm.
warfare at that moment. And the enemy, I saw the enemy with my eyes. And it was
Mm.
real as I'm sitting here. And it scared me. And I said, I can't go out like that. I'm not going out like that. And I tell you this, when I saw that verse in the Bible, that Jeremiah that said God knew us before, when I read that,
Yeah.
it actually did something because I said, hold up, God already knew me in the womb of my mother. So who is the enemy to tell me who I'm not when God called me to be who I am? And it was really at that moment that I took back my power. And I said, no, you win. I'm not going to take my life. That's a cop out. I'm not going to hell for nobody.
Yes.
I'm not
Yes.
killing my children. I'm not. And I prayed. I signed up for church. I did the hard work, you know. It was hard. It was hard because I
Mhm.
was going back and forth still. But I pushed
Right.
through. You know, I thank
Right.
God. I had my grandma praying with me and
Mhm.
I pushed through. And I'm grateful that I didn't take my life. I'm grateful that I can talk about these things and not feel
Right.
bound by the enemy no more. I'm free.
Yes. Yes.
So when
And
I
that
think about the word
freedom.
love, I said redemption.
Wow. 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 I mean, you guys are hearing this in real time. We have Miss Brittany Green. I can't imagine a more transparent moment than the one you are kind enough to share with us tonight, because I gotta know that somebody is being impacted by everything that you went through, everything you've gone through and grown through up until this point. It was for a time such as this. And I hear you talking about battling and then finding your identity. That is so important because that is one of the major fights right
Mhm.
now. The enemy plays with our minds about who we
Yes, it
are.
is.
Yeah, yeah. And took you there, but you found that verse and you found that power and said that
Yes,
if he knew me, he evidently knows something that nobody else knows. He knows it's something in me
yes,
and he's telling me. And you grabbed hold of that thing and took your power back. Wow.
yes.
Wow. Oh my God. Redemption. Love. I
Redemption.
see why you equate the word love with redemption because he redeemed you to himself and
Yes,
said,
yes,
wow,
yes.
this ain't your portion. You said we ain't going out like this. This thing keeps playing with me tonight, y'all. But I'm telling you, I'm staying right in the zone with it. I don't care what it does. I'm gonna put this on Miss Brittany for just a moment.
That is awesome.
Yes, and I want you to answer this question as we work this camera out on this side. You recently went through a life-altering experience while caring for someone you love. Would you tell us about that journey?
Yes, my grandmother. Whoo, October the 15th is a day that is on repeat in my mind. I woke up in the morning and the only thing I could say is let me get to my grandmom. I figured out if I get there early, nobody would be there. And sure enough, I got there about 8:45 and nobody was there. So I knew I had time with her. I was in between classes on Clubhouse. So I was in and out of the house. She was still breathing at the time. And then I had an idea to play the tablet because my grandmother loved gospel music and she loved the word. So recently somebody had reached out and said the pastor shouted her out. And I know that when she was in ICU before, she told me that she could hear. So never stopped talking to her. So I went in and I played the music. I let the word of God just be. I opened the Bible. I left it on her bed. And I went back outside. Finally, the classes was over and I came back in. It's about maybe 11. I sat down beside her and I recorded her on my phone. Didn't even realize I was doing it. She was still breathing. And I got up and I went and sat on the opposite side of her. And out of nowhere, um, the pastor was preaching and his sermon was clear as day. He said, "You can go now. You can rest now. Your job is done here." And I saw some movement from the covers. Mind you, my grandmother went down that Sunday. So she was down for 6 days. And that Saturday, I saw that movement and her hands went up like this and her eyes open, both eyes. She was in a deep rest. And her head was going back and forth and she was making a noise. I was in a frantic moment. I called out for my cousin. He was on the back porch and he ran in the house and I'm telling him something is wrong. Hurry up and get over here. And we both standing there looking at her and she's waving her hands and I'm screaming, he's screaming. And the only thing I could do in that moment was grab the Bible. It was already open to Psalms. The Lord is my shepherd. So I started reading it. And then I told my cousin, it's okay. This is the Holy Spirit. I said, this is God. This is the work of God. And by 12:30, she passed away. I was calling everybody I could, and my mom finally picked up, and I let her know I think this is the time. And sure enough, my mom finally made it, and by 12:30, my grandmother took her last breath, and that was traumatic. But I did it. You know, I know that God wouldn't have it any other way. I know I had to be there. It wasn't a coincidence that I was there. So I just accept whatever is in God's will for my life. It was a beautiful moment to see my grandmother finally get the peace that she so wanted here on earth. Even though it was tragic, I felt a sense of relief because I know that other loved ones is on the other side waiting for her. And I also know what she left behind. And I told my mom she didn't die in vain because she still lives through all of us. She laid the blueprint. Now all we got to do is produce. And
Wow.
yeah, it
Wow.
was beautiful. It was a lot of emotions and it didn't process. With dyslexia, even with it's not just reading. A lot of times the don't process right then and there. It really don't. I could
Mhm.
hear something and you might have to tell me over and over. And one day I finally say, "Oh, I finally get what you're talking about."
Mhm.
So it's still that and register what happened with my grandma. I know it happened. I know I was there, but maybe about 2 weeks later, it finally
Mhm.
registered, and I said, "Did this really happen?" And then I started experiencing the emotions with it.
Mhm. Wow, wow. What a journey. What a journey. Your amazing grandmother. I've seen her pictures, of course, on your timeline.
Thank
Absolutely beautiful, distinguished woman. And you could tell she handled it. She handled it very well. And you're certainly a product of that. And I know this is a difficult thing to share, but as we go through and we grow through, I
you.
have to know she's so proud of you in this moment and what you are accomplishing. Yeah, yeah. I can only imagine the smile
Yeah.
she has right now in
Mhm.
heaven, just with you, seeing you, just amazing, amazing. And so, yeah, yeah. For someone who's
Thank
traveling
you.
that journey of grief and walking through that, our prayers continue to be with you as your heart heals.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Your head certainly knows, but your heart still is healing. So, thank you for sharing such a beautiful journey of transitioning with
Thank you.
us. So, how did this impact your faith as you watch this beautiful transition of an amazing life into
Um,
life?
Wow. My faith was wavering. I was uncertain about who I was, even in that moment. I know that I wanted to do this and that, and I was trying things out. I was on Clubhouse taking a chance, and I was signing up with Dr. Sonia, trying to take a chance to find myself because for so my grandmother was the whole family's voice. Like we didn't have an identity. She did everything. When I say everything, she ran everything. And we were under her. So if we wanted to move, we all consulted her. So to know that she wasn't there, I had to find out who I was. But once again, I said, Grandma not here to save me now, Brittany. You gotta do some work.
Mhm.
So on this journey, the faith came because I believe that God allowed me to see that for a reason. Even though God's been constantly revealing himself, because that was one of my prayers. I said, Lord, just show me who you are. And when I say
Mhm.
revelation, I mean revelation. I didn't care about no money, no jewelry, no cars. I wanted God to reveal himself to me because I
Mhm.
needed that for myself. And
Mhm.
once I saw that, it was just like, oh my good, are you serious? My faith is on 1,000. I am certain that God is who he says he is. I am. And I
Mhm.
tell my son this all the time. I ain't arguing with nobody and ain't nobody got to
Mhm.
convince me no more. I know who God is.
Mm, 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 mm.
And
You know for yourself.
yes. And that's where the identity came in at. Because once
Mhm.
I knew who God was, he showed me who I was.
Yeah. Wow. Isn't that interesting? Once you know, he shows. Isn't
It
that
is.
something?
And guess what? Purpose was wrapped up in that too. Because
Yes, it
for a long
is.
time I said, who am I? What am I supposed to be doing here? And I heard
Mhm.
clear as day, bring forth the word to my people. That's all I need you to do. And I sat here in this house and I said, Lord, all this time, I thought you wanted me to do this and I wanted to do this. And all I got to do is bring forth the word. Oh, that's easy.
Yes.
It was a
Yes.
weight lifted off my shoulders because I was
Mhm.
honored. And I said, Lord, I put me down and I want to lift you up.
Mm.
And where is
Wow.
his will for my life? I'm so serious. And I told my grandmother, I just want to praise God to the last days of my life. That's all I want. It's in my heart. I'm okay. If God never do anything else for me, he done it. And I
Wow.
stand on those words.
Wow. What amazing words and what amazing strength coming out of such a difficult journey. But my goodness, look at what has been birthed out. And as you share that, you know, she's being very, very modest tonight, you guys. But so much has been birthed out of this particular journey in such a short time. She mentions that connection piece about having a mentor, having a coach, and coming into her own now, accepting a calling into ministry. That clubhouse that she mentioned, she comes on and she encourages and she inspires. Also, we have sitting before us an author. Yes, an author that was born out of this particular journey. Tell us about that latest book.
Yes, I actually have a copy here. They finally came in the mail. It's called Grace and Imperfections, and it's by
Oh,
Jessica T. Moore.
mhm.
And I'm right there on the back.
My goodness.
It was a beauty. You know what? God is just amazing because last year, I want to say in somewhere last year, I don't remember, but I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw a program from Les Brown, and it was called Hungry to Speak. And I was like, oh, you know what? I want to look into that. I got some money. Signed up for it, and you had to do public speaking. I've never done it in my life. And I would go up to the classes and I would never show my face. I always made an excuse to turn the camera off. So one night it was my time and I just shut the whole computer down. And I came back in the house and I was crying. And my son was like, Mom, why are you such a punk? Just do it. You said you're going to do it, Mom. Just do it. So I didn't get on. But somebody from the program actually graduated and she became a publisher. And I saw her on Facebook one day and I said, I remember her face. So I reached out to her and she actually told me that she was a publisher and she was doing something with the book and she was looking for people that wanted to share their story. So I thought it was cool, right? So I did everything I needed to do, and I got my chapter together, and I'm trying to find a little bit of it. It's about my battle with depression. I go into a little detail about when I first noticed it and just different things
Mhm.
that,
Ah,
um,
I love that picture. Yes. Growing through pain. Yes, I
yes,
just
growing
put
through
that in the
pain.
chat for someone who wants to get the book Embracing Imperfections by Jessica Moore with an
Yeah,
inspirational chapter by Miss Brittany Green. Yes, tell us
yes.
about
And I was just kind of giving an overview on when I was in college and when I started dating and I got my heart
it.
broke. That's when the depression kind of set in
Mhm.
because I put all my eggs in a basket and I just thought, this is the man of my dreams. I'm gonna marry this man. And then this man turned around and got married. And then I had my baby. And it was just a struggle. And I was younger. I was in love. I was hurt. But it wasn't even just that. I had been heartbroken from my father, from the
Yes.
relationship I didn't have with my mother, from the relationship I didn't have with my siblings. And everything
Mhm.
piled on me when I stopped working. I never had to
Mm,
deal with it because I was always on the move.
mm,
So when I stopped working, everything came crashing down. And I
mhm,
had to see this man every day walk past my house. And I thought at one point it was torment. I was being tormented by the enemy. And I just didn't give up. Like I said before, all the things that I thought, yes, I wanted a way out because I also was going through domestic violence in another toxic relationship. And I hid that. I hid it from my children. I tried to clean up nice and come outside, but it was hell on the inside. So on top of my depression, it was verbal abuse. It was
mm,
me battling myself, trying to find out who I am. It was a lot of different emotions. And I still put my clothes on and made myself up and came outside just to get some air.
mm.
And, I keep going back to my grandma, but I thank God that she was around because she helped me with my second child. She would
Yeah.
take her so I can go outside and breathe.
Mm,
So I didn't go into too much depth about the depression, but from what you heard, you
mhm,
understand where it kind of stemmed from. And when I asked God to heal my heart, God took me back into my childhood where it first started. And I started seeing things and I remember things when I was 6 and 7. I would
mhm,
bite myself. I would punch myself in the face. I would pull my hair. I would cut my hair. And I did those things because I wanted attention. I wanted to be loved.
mhm.
I wanted
Yeah.
somebody to look at me and say, "Hi, Brittany." I wanted to be treated fairly, but it
Yes.
wasn't always the case. And I
Yeah.
wasn't born with a mental illness, but I started developing those thoughts because everywhere I went, I was being hurt.
Yeah.
And out of that, I just came into being a turtle in a shell. I didn't know how to communicate with the outside no more. So I kind of just shut down.
Mhm,
But once I
mhm.
went out and got the help that I needed and somebody directed me to the right location, I was able to get the proper help.
Yes.
And even
Yes.
though they
To have
prescribed medication, I didn't
mhm.
even have to take the medication.
Hmm. Wow.
Nope. I still
Wow.
because I didn't want that attached to me. Because when you speak on mental illness, the world treats you so different. And I
Yes.
experienced that. I tried to go to home
Yeah.
front and Catholic charities to get help. And when they started that work, they treated me different. They talked down to me. It was
Mhm.
very hard to be in that position because I was the one on the opposite side at one point.
Yeah.
And now that I'm the one in the seat where I need help, I was not getting
Mhm.
the help that I needed. So I vowed to get better so I could come back because I got a chance to see what real people go through every day.
Yes. Yes. And
And I
many
said it
times we
has to be
look
a
yes, it has to be a change. You're absolutely correct. And the ones who are going through mental illness are often treated as a victim and then victimized as if it's their fault. And it's not.
yes.
It's not.
No.
There are imbalances. There are things that are happening with them. Then there are, traumatic events that have created disturbances. And so there's that imbalance. And instead of saying, hey, we're here, Let's help. Let's get the resources. Let's get whatever you need to get better. And no matter how long the journey takes, we're here. It may be
Yes.
just for a moment, it may be for a lifetime, but whatever it is, we're here. And so thankfully, you were able to obtain those resources. You were able to have your support system right there to walk you through all of it that so many people don't have.
Yes.
But I'm looking at that chapter growing through your pain, growing with the pain, just looking at that chapter you put in that book. You guys got to get this book, Embracing Imperfections, and to read that chapter because I'm pretty sure it's
Yes.
some more things here she has not included, but she's sharing some of those with us tonight. And I thank you again for being so transparent and sharing them with us. And you mentioned having to go back to that
Yes.
little girl and to start getting
Yes.
some of those
I did.
answers. And so with that in
Mhm.
mind, what would you, as these things are going, what would you tell your 16-year-old self as your chapters continue to unfold?
I would definitely tell myself back then to be myself. That everything that you are designed with is who you are supposed to be. All the quirkiness, the loudness, the comic side of me, the goofy side of me, just enjoy it. That's something that I wish I would have done because I love every part of myself now. And I tried to hide those things because the world had a problem with it.
Mm,
I wanted to dress like a boy. I was put in the category that I like women. Even in middle
mhm,
school, 8th grade, I was being taunted with, "Oh, I think you're gay." And the reality is nobody knew that I suffered molestation and I wanted to hide my body. That's all. I didn't want boys to look at me in a sexual manner. So I decided if I look like a boy, they ain't gonna mess with me. And sure enough, it worked. I got to hang out and then I became the cool Brittany, right? And then when I
mm,
went into high school, now as men around, boys around, I want to start showing myself off. But if I could tell my 16-year-old self that it's
mhm,
okay to be called the church, I got a lot of slack for being that girl. It was
mhm.
hard. I was put into a
Yeah,
category again.
yeah,
I was told, "Oh, church girl, go sit down." And I love church. When I
yeah,
first stepped foot in the church, I knew that was home. I
mhm,
felt safe
mhm,
in a place like that. So I would
mm.
definitely tell myself to be myself on every part of myself.
Wow, I love that. I love that. I would tell myself to be myself. And what a phrase for even some of us who are a little bit beyond age 16. We need to stop by that mirror and just tell ourselves to be ourselves. Thank you so much for sharing that
Yes.
nugget, man. That's a powerful nugget. In case somebody didn't get that one, you need
Thank
to take that one and you might need to coin that one, my sister. Yeah, tell myself to be myself. That's amazing. Oh, I love that. I love that. And so for your generation,
you.
as you have covered so many things that your generation goes through silently, I hate to say it, without support, I hate to say it, without strategies put in very early to know how to navigate that. And then to know how to heal from those things so that we don't bring it forward, and then to be able to use that to structure our parenting skills, even for our children. What one word would you now give to your generation and why?
Fight, fight. I say our ancestors, um, just the people that came before us, their fight was so different. We didn't have to experience slavery. We didn't have to go through the Jim Crow era. We didn't have to go through where you got to go in the back of the house and use the bathroom. All these types of stories my grandmother told me that her mom was a seamstress and a housekeeper and they would hide food. Just knowing that she went through those things, and she was born in 1945. That was not that long ago, but it was long ago. To see Dr. King and Malcolm X and Zora Neale Hurston and Langston Hughes, just the things that we went through as a people, we have to continue to fight. That is my
Yeah,
message to the people that's in my era. Fight like your life is on the line because it's worth it at the end of the day.
it is worth it. It
It
is worth
really is. Our lives are worth it.
Oh my goodness. Oh
So
my
I would tell
goodness.
them every day, fight.
Wow. Wow. You guys are listening to the amazing Miss Brittany Green, who has joined me tonight as my special guest. I so thank you, my sister, for coming in tonight. You guys have heard this amazing story, and I'm telling you, she's got chapters unfolding. So I know this is not the only book. I'm looking for your book to be coming out very
Yeah.
soon. Yes, I'm looking for that. I'm looking for your business that you are bringing to fruition even as we speak. I'm looking for you on stages. I'm
Yes.
looking for you, my sister. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. I'm looking for you. And you know, Auntie loves you, just absolutely loves you, loves you. And I
Thank
told
you.
her a little bit, yes, well, thank you so much. I told her a little bit, I said, you know, she was telling me some of these things I didn't know. But if you had a song, and we'll conclude here, if you had a song that you could sing a line of it that would kind of say, this is me, or this is who God is in me, what would that be? And would you sing it?
I made a song called Smile.
Let me hear that.
Yes, I will. Um,
Okay, please.
when I was going through depression, just a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna let.
I was raised up in a house where we never smiled. And I was raised up by a woman who always did all she could. But somewhere I got lost. I found myself alone, and love disappeared, and hate became my home. It's been a journey growing up. I ain't gonna lie, it's been rough. Memories are fading. Defeat on my mind is waving, but I made a vow to myself. I'm gonna love when nobody else can see me. I'm gonna smile, and I'm gonna smile when the going gets rough. I'm gonna make it, 'cause I had enough. I'm gonna till my blue skies fade away, until I am free. I'm gonna smile. Thank you.
Wow. Oh my goodness. You guys. Wow. You, yeah, don't do auntie like that. You,
I
wow.
don't want to do myself. Jesus. Thank you.
Wow. In the midst of it,
Yeah.
my heart is full. My heart is full. To hear the journey, this is what it looks like, you guys. I'm gonna open my eyes in a minute. But this is what it looks like when God turns your midnight into day and your morning into dancing. This is what it looks like. We smile. We don't always look like
Yes.
what we did, bro. But that song, after hearing your story, and God can give you a song like that in your midnight hour, your
Mm.
song, not something you heard. This is your song. And this is the song,
Jesus.
my sister, as we do our best to conclude, because I always tell you that one of the things we say here is that one story changes many lives. That song is going to change many lives. I expect, listen to Auntie for a moment. I expect to, I think y'all got a thing called Spotify, somebody. Y'all tell me all those apps. Expect that release of that song. Yes, with just a snippet of what you have been through. Your story is so rich, but the message of Christ that you deliver is far richer. And I hear him in the lyrics of that song. And then, oh my goodness, what a voice. What a voice. Yes, yes.
Thank you.
I only know heaven is smiling right now. So I want to thank you, my sister. I don't even know if you have questions in there, but I got to tell you, thank you for joining me on tonight. My life is far better because he allowed me to cross pathways with one Miss Brittany Green.
Thank you. Thank you for having me and giving me an opportunity to just be free and talk. I appreciate it.
And you know, we will chat soon. I'm going to wrap this one up as best we can, but I want you to hang around for just a moment as we wrap this one up. You
Okay.
guys put your hands together in this chat somewhere. Just give me some hand signs and show Miss Brittany some love for what she shared tonight. That it doesn't matter how you begin, it's how you end up. And my goodness, she's on a pathway to closing this thing out with such a bright light. I'm so honored. I'm so honored and so blessed. So blessed. So yes, yes. Thank you again, my sister.
Thank you.
Love you, life.
Thank you.
So there you have it. There you have it. And this is why we do tell your story. Because we always say one story can change many lives. You heard the story of Miss Brittany Green. I'm sure you're going to play it again in the midst of all of our camera snafus. That's just a part of it. But sometimes we know that that's a way that the darkness does not want the light to appear. And she appeared bright in her own space, in her own light, authentically, transparently, Miss Brittany Green. And we see God's hand all over her. So you guys keep your eyes and your ears open for this one. This is not the last time you will hear or see from this amazing light. Thank you all so much for joining tonight. I see my amazing sisters on. My sister, yes, down by the valley. Asked my sister Mimi, love you to life, girl. And my amazing sister, yes, the realtor herself from the college days, as well as my amazing preaching sister, Minister Deborah. Thank you all, and all of you who will listen now and in the nighttime. Don't stop telling your story. Somebody is listening. We look forward to joining with you again on next month and with another Tell Your Story. We'll be back on a Thursday night, 7 o'clock p.m. It's been my pleasure to be your host on tonight, Dr. Sheri Dark-Goudeau. You guys take care and have an amazing evening.